So my whole life I have loved antiques so much. There's just something about an antique that really speaks to me. So when I was given my grandfather's 1940s Pinocchio collection, I was especially ecstatic for multiple reasons. It belonged to my grandfather, who was like my father, so it was always so comforting to have things that belonged to him around me after he passed. I love Disney, and Pinocchio is such a classic and one of my favorite Disney movies. And it's from the 1940s. It's so old. I was ecstatic to receive it, and I knew I wanted to add on to the collection. So my husband bought me the Geppetto doll that I needed for the collection, and I was really excited because Geppetto was in great condition and really affordable. The listing didn't say anything really at all about the doll. There was no mention of anything weird happening with the doll, and honestly it didn't even occur to me that what I was receiving could be haunted. Throughout my life I did have paranormal experiences, and I am a paranormal investigator. So I feel like my senses are a little bit heightened and I am inclined to paranormal activity. However, everything was pretty calm in my house. There was not a lot going on. I hadn't had an experience in my home for a while until I received Geppetto in the mail. Geppetto came fast, very fast. And when I look back at it, I think maybe the seller wanted to get rid of him. He was affordable and in great condition. I would have paid more for this figurine. Immediately I started having experiences that were pretty much unexplained. I had no explanation for what was happening around me, and everyone was experiencing it, not just me. Whatever it wasn't shy. It just was not shy to present itself. The very first thing I can recall happening were things were falling. Things would tumble over and knock over, and at first you just kind of explain it away, like a truck drove by maybe and knocked that over. But then it was things that were a little heavy, or things that were in the middle of the table. The one thing that I recall happening was one day I was cooking dinner, and I had left a open can of crushed tomatoes on the counter, and I had left the room. I was in the living room now with my husband, his friend John, and his sister Jack. We were all sitting there, just hanging out. I don't even remember if we were even talking, but there was a noise, and then there was another noise. And everyone was a little bit scared. No one wanted to get up, so I volunteered to go look. And the can of crushed tomatoes was all over the floor. It was strange because it was kind of a heavy object to just fall over. I don't know how that would happen. And I do have a cat, but he does not go on the counter, ever. Another thing that happened was one day I was cooking and I turned on the pilot, and I had a pot on the stove, and the pot turned around on its own, and it's so weird. It almost feels like it couldn't have happened, but I saw it happen, so I can't deny it. My dog Lacey really started to notice weird things when no one else could really see or hear or feel anything. There were times where she barked at nothing and even attacked nothing. People started to hear things, and I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear any noises in other rooms at this time, but other people were noticing it, and it was freaking them out. One instance I can remember very clearly, I was in the kitchen again cooking, and again John was there, and my mother-in-law was there this time too. John came into the kitchen asking me where the cat was. Was he locked up in my room? Because there were noises coming from my room. I was like, no, he's under the table, because sometimes you shut the door and the cat was in the room, but he lets you know very clearly when he is in a room. And Max was underneath the table, just hanging out. And I asked them what they were hearing, and neither one of them wanted to talk about it. They were really freaked out. They insisted there was something coming from my room, and I did go up. Nothing was out of place. Nothing was knocked over. Lacey was by my side, so I know it wasn't Lacey. Max, I know it wasn't Max. He was under the table the whole time. And I had no explanation for what they were hearing, but they really didn't want to talk about it. I packed my figurine away at one point because I was bringing out holiday decorations, and I needed a little bit more room. So I packed the Disney collection away, and things got really quiet. And then I brought them out. Once I brought them out, things started happening again. The biggest thing that happened, and I don't remember exactly when it happened, but this is the thing that I probably will never forget. Again, I was in the kitchen cooking, and my in-laws were all there. They were all in the living room. There was a commotion. I didn't know what it was, but it was loud. They were freaking out. I went into the living room, and my father-in-law was at the lamp, and my dog was in my sister-in-law's lap. My mother-in-law looked like she had just seen a ghost. I asked what happened, and they told me that the lampshade, which was very heavy and it also screwed on, had lifted up and fell over. This is impossible for it to do on its own. I don't know what to say about that. That's literally impossible. It's a very heavy lamp, and the lampshade was screwed on. So I don't know what happened. In fact, we don't even use that lamp. It's more decorative than anything. So things would happen here and there, but they started to quiet down a little bit. And I was like, maybe it's just settling down. Maybe it's used to us now. Maybe it's okay. As of recently, though, the activity has heightened a lot. It is now becoming visible. People are seeing things. At first, I hadn't seen anything, and I couldn't say that I knew that people were seeing a ghost. The first person who saw something was my mother-in-law, and she saw a man walk by my door. He had a coat and a hat on. Another time, I was in the living room with my husband, and our friend John was here. We were watching, I think it was Pet Cemetery. It was Pet Cemetery, because Zelda freaks out John. The lights were out. I think it was probably around 11. John was getting nervous because Zelda had been on the TV screen. And all of a sudden, my husband says, there's someone at the door. So I immediately think he's just trying to scare John more. John and him are like brothers. You know how siblings are. So I just assumed that's what was happening. And I said, haha, very funny, Justin. He's like, no, somebody's at the door. And he gets up and he goes to the door. And I said to him, Justin, it's 11 o'clock at night. What are you going to the door for? You're not expecting anyone. Get back inside. But he didn't listen to me, and he continued to go to the door. And he opened the door and he looked around outside because he swore there was someone at the door. I didn't see it, John didn't see it, but that whole night I really did think that he was pretending to freak John out. I didn't think he saw anyone. When John was no longer there, I had asked my husband, did you really see somebody, or were you pretending to scare John? He told me, no. I saw a man walk up to the door. My husband is very level-headed. He will explain everything away. For him to not be able to explain this away, to insist he saw something, and to be a little bit freaked out about it, speaks volumes. So still I hadn't seen anything myself until one night we were watching TV, again, kind of late at night. Lacey was there, and I saw a shadow at the door. It did look as if somebody were peeking in, but I didn't say anything because I didn't think. Now this could all be in my head because of the fact of doing this video. Oh, I thought I heard something behind me. But I didn't say anything because I didn't think. Geppetto is behind me. So I didn't think that it was anything. I thought maybe it was just a shadow. And that was it. So I didn't say anything. But Lacey started to get really upset and was staring at the door and barking. And then Justin stood up and said, "Did you see somebody at the door?" My blood ran cold because yes, I did.
Hi. Sorry, Lacey.
Justin had went to the door to look because Lacey was really freaking out. And she was crying, and then she was growling and barking at certain times because there was somebody that she saw at the door. Justin didn't find anyone when he looked. And this didn't take a long time. We didn't sit there and wait a few minutes. These things happened one after the other after the other. Therefore, whatever we saw couldn't have had a lot of time to get away if it was a person. These similar things just kept happening. Things were falling, and we were hearing things in other rooms where no one was there. I was now seeing things. Then today, I was downstairs by myself. Justin's at work. I'm home alone. Lacey and Max were downstairs, but I heard footsteps up here. Lacey heard them. And it bothered Lacey. She was upset about it. Max is very calm. Nothing really seems to bother him very much. So he's never swayed either way. But Lacey was quite upset about the footsteps.
I hope you hear that. Sounds like footsteps upstairs. I'm home alone. She's here. She hears it. You can tell by her ears. She's been listening.
I have no idea how to explain that away. I'm a certified paralegal. I think logically. But I've had these experiences, and I have explained some of them away. And then others, like the footsteps upstairs where nobody is at. I cannot explain that away. I can't. I can't explain something being swept off the table when it's on the middle of the table. There's no explanation for that. It's fine. It's fine. Freaking out because I brought Geppetto over? This is Geppetto. Let me know what you think. I'm interested to hear. She looks really scared. Doesn't she? Should we, like, put Geppetto near her? See what she thinks? Her ears are back. Don't like him? Do you think we should get rid of him? She does not look happy. Look, he's gone. He's gone. Where is he?